Good afternoon, everyone. I'm thankful to Vitul sir for giving me this opportunity. Let's start with our topic. Today, my topic of discussion is approach to management of headache. So let's start with the global burden of headache. One in every 3 person experience severe headache at some stage of their life. Most people with mild, recurrent or isolated headache do not consult a physician and therefore true prevalence is not known. More than 90% patients report impaired ability to function during migraine attacks and almost 50% patient report severe disability and they require bed rest. WHO has declared migraine to be among the most disabling medical condition experienced worldwide. Almost 40% adult population has headache at least once per year and almost 3 to 17% adult population suffer with frequent or chronic headache, usually migraine at any given point of time. In our neurology OPD, almost 1/4 patients come for headache and majority of these headaches are benign headaches. So objective of this talk is to learn about the major types of headache, to understand the difference between primary and secondary headache, to be familiar with the red flag signs of headache and how should we approach a patient coming with headache, and lastly treatment and prophylaxis of some primary headaches. So what is the difference between primary and secondary headache? Primary headache, where there is no structural abnormality in the brain or metabolic abnormality in brain or in the body, like migraine, tension type headache or trigeminal autonomic cephalgia. Secondary headaches are those which are secondary to some structural damage in the brain or some metabolic abnormality in the brain or the body, like sinusitis, otitis media, glaucoma, subarachnoid hemorrhage, vasculitis, meningitis, tumor, etc. So this is the latest classification of headache which was given by International Classification of Headache Disorder Society in 2018. In this classification, headache is divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is primary headache, part 2 is secondary headache and part 3 is painful cranial neuralgia. In primary headache, where there is no structural abnormality in the brain or in the any metabolic abnormality in the body. Primary headaches are migraine, tension type headache, trigeminal autonomic cephalgia or other primary headache disorders. And in secondary headache, which are attributable to some structural damage in the brain or some metabolic abnormality in the brain or body, like secondary to trauma, vascular disorder, substance abuse, substance withdrawal, infection, secondary to disorders of homeostasis, secondary to disorders of eyes, ear, nose, sinus, etc. So let's start with the case 1. This is a 28-year female who comes with headache for last 3 years. Headaches are intermittent, 6 to 8 episodes per month. Each episode starts with flashes of light for few minutes, followed by severe pulsatile headache, which lasts for around 5 to 6 hours. And if she takes painkiller, these headache episode subsides early. And usually headache is more on one side, but side may switches. Sometimes it is more on right side or sometimes it is more on left side. She is not able to carry out her daily routine work on the day of headache. And on examination, there was no disc edema and no neurological deficit. So from the history and examination, it is diagnosis clear. It is a case of migraine with visual aura. And in such cases, investigations are usually not required. Treatment is usually abortive as well as preventive. We give painkiller in acute phase to abort the headache episode, and we give prophylaxis to prevent the recurrence of headache. Coming to the diagnostic criteria of migraine. This is the diagnostic criteria of migraine which was given by International Classification of Headache Disorder Society. Patient should have at least 5 attacks which should fulfill criteria B to D, means headache should last from 4 hours to 72 hours. Headache should have at least 2 out of these 4 characters. Headache should be unilateral, pulsatile, moderate to severe in intensity, and headache should be aggravated or causing avoidance of routine physical activity. And these episodes should have at least 1 out of these 2 features, like nausea and vomiting, photophobia or phonophobia, and these headache episodes should not be attributable by another disorder. Migraine headaches. Migraine usually affect almost 15% of the general population. We know females are more affected than male. Family history is present in almost 50% cases. And common precipitants of migraines are caffeine, chocolate, alcohol, cheese, hormone replacement therapy, menses, stress, etc. Clinical characteristics of migraine. Each migraine episode starts with a prodrome, and these prodromes are usually non-specific, non-neurological. They may occur hours to days before actual headache episode in the form of irritability, depression, mood swings, lethargy, and confusion. Aura. Next stage is aura, which is actually neurological. It occurs immediately prior to the onset of headache. And these auras are transient and usually last from 5 minutes to 60 minutes. And most common type aura is visual aura in the form of zigzag lines known as scintillating scotoma, fortification spectra, flashes of light, blurring of vision, diminution of vision. Other common type of aura are sensory aura, language aura, motor aura. In sensory aura, patient may have paresthesias, numbness. In language aura, patient may have transient aphasia, inability to speak, inability to read, inability to write, and sometimes there may be mild confusion. Coming to the treatment of migraine, if patient is coming with mild migraine attacks, we can use paracetamol and some NSAIDs like aspirin, naproxen, ibuprofen. If there are moderate attacks, we usually use NSAIDs plus dopamine antagonist like metoclopramide. Other options are 5-HT1 receptor agonists like triptans. Currently we are having triptans, sumatriptan, rizatriptan and zolmitriptan. These triptans are available in oral formulation, subcutaneous formulation, oral disintegrating tablets, nasal sprays. If patient is having prominent nausea and vomiting during migraine attacks, we should use intranasal spray or subcutaneous route. If patients are coming with severe attack of migraine in emergency, we can use chlorpromazine, 25 to 50 milligram intramuscular or IV, along with metoclopramide. Other option is prochlorperazine, stimatil 10 milligram IV. To avoid the headache episode, we can use sumatriptan 6 milligram subcutaneous or zolmitriptan nasal spray 5 milligram. Currently, rizatriptan oral disintegrating strips are also available in 5 milligram and 10 milligram strength. Rarely we can use magnesium sulfate 1 gram IV infusion if patient is having severe migraine attack. Ketorolac 60 mg intramuscularly is also used in refractory cases, and rarely Dexa loading dose 12 to 20 milligram. Coming to prophylaxis of migraine, we consider prophylaxis of migraine if patient is having 3 or more than 3 attacks per month, or severity of migraine is such that is hampering the quality of life of patient. Options for migraine prophylaxis are beta blocker, calcium channel blocker, tricyclic antidepressant, SNRI and divalprox sodium. Among beta blockers, commonly used drug is propranolol, calcium channel blocker flunarizine, tricyclic antidepressant which we commonly use for prophylaxis amitriptyline, nortriptyline, SNRI we use venlafaxine, and next is antiepileptic drug like divalprox sodium. First line prophylactic agent is beta blocker and tricyclic antidepressant. If patient is not responding to beta blocker and tricyclic antidepressant, we can go to second line drugs like topiramate, divalprox sodium and flunarizine. For chronic migraine, only approved drugs are botulinum toxin A and topiramate. Currently some newer therapies are also coming which are Ditans and Gepants, which are very effective but currently not available in India. Some special consideration: if patient is coming with migraine who is also having hypertension, drug of choice for prophylaxis is beta blocker. If a obese patient is coming with migraine, drug of choice is topiramate, because topiramate also has tendency for weight loss. If patient of migraine is having comorbid depression, we usually use tricyclic antidepressant or SNRI like amitriptyline and venlafaxine. Coming to case number 2. This is 35-year female who is having headache for last 10 to 12 years. Initially these headaches were episodic, 3 to 4 per month, moderate to severe, holocranial, throbbing, aggravated by physical activity, and reliefs after sleep, associated with nausea. And these episodes used to last for 24 hours. For last 1 year, these headaches are daily. Among trigeminal autonomic cephalgia, 4 important entities are cluster headache, paroxysmal hemicrania, hemicrania continua, and 4th category is Sunct and Suna. These 4 types of attack are differentiated on the basis of frequency of attack and duration of attack. This is the this is the difference between different texts. Like in cluster headache, cluster is most common type of trigeminal autonomic cephalgia. In cluster, headache duration is usually 15 minutes to 180 minutes, and frequency of attack is 1 to 8 per day. In paroxysmal hemicrania, headache duration is usually 2 minutes to 30 minutes, and frequency is 4 to 10 episodes per day. In hemicrania continua, severe headache lasts for days for months. And in fourth category, Sun and Suna, headache duration is usually up to seconds, 1 to 600 seconds, and patient may have up to 100 attacks per day. In cluster headache, for abortive therapy, we use high flow nasal oxygen or subcutaneous triptans. As a transitional therapy, we use steroid, and long-term prophylaxis, we use brapamyl or lithium. For paroxysmal hemicrania and hemicrania continua, drug of choice is indomethacin. And fourth category, which is very rare type of primary headache, Sun and Suna. For abortive treatment, we use IV lidocaine, and for long-term prophylaxis, we use lamotrigine. These are some other primary headaches like tension type headache, primary stabbing headache, cuff headache, exertional headache, hypnic headache. Coming to tension type headache, most common type of headache, which usually lasts from 30 minutes to 7 days. And diagnostic criteria for tension type headache is each episode should fulfill these 2 features out of the 6 features. In tension type headache, quality of headache is usually non-pulsatile, band-like sensation overhead. Headache is usually mild to moderate severity. Headache occurs on both sides of head, not worsened by activities of daily living. And photophobia and phonophobia are usually not associated with these tension type headache. And patient usually don't have nausea and vomiting, but in severe cases of tension type headache, patient may have mild nausea. Treatment is reassurance and NSAIDs. Coming to chronic tension type headache, if headache frequency is more than 15 days per month for consecutive 3 months, headache characters mild to moderate, bilateral, non-pulsatile. Usually these patients have comorbid anxiety and depression. Treatment of choice, amitriptyline, SNRI like venlafaxine, SSRI. Next important category of headache is medication overuse headache. This category of headache is very important because almost 1/4 patient coming to neurologist are having medication overuse headache. These headaches are rebound headache because of overuse of analgesic. Now coming to secondary headache. Secondary headaches are those headaches which are secondary to some structural damage in the brain. In a primary clinical setting, almost all cases, less than 1% cases of headaches are secondary headache. But in emergency, almost 10 to 13% cases may turn out to be secondary headache. For any new onset acute severe headache, almost 20 to 40% patients have some secondary cause. Out of these secondary causes, almost 2 to 15% turn out to be a subarachnoid hemorrhage. So always look for red flag signs to identify these secondary headaches. And what are these red flag signs? This is the mnemonic SNOOP4 to remember the characters of secondary headache. What is the SNOOP4? S for systemic symptoms. If patient is having fever, weight loss, claudication of jaw, or some systemic disorder like HIV, malignancy, or history of trauma, we should always suspect some secondary cause. If patient is having some neurological sign or symptom like double vision, blurring of vision, behavioral and personality change, altered sensorium, sensory motor deficit, disc edema, onset. If onset of headache is sudden, abrupt, we should always suspect some secondary pathology. Age of onset. If patient older than 50 years coming with new onset headache, we should always suspect some secondary pathology. If there is change in character of the pre-existing headache, patient is having long-standing migraine, but he presents with sudden change in the character of headache, we always should rule out the secondary causes. If on examination patient is having disc edema or gives history of pulsatile tinnitus, if patient is having postural association of headache, like if headache is improving with upright posture or worsening with upright posture, we should always rule out secondary pathologies. If headache is precipitated by Valsalva maneuver, exertion or sexual intercourse, we should always rule out some secondary etiology. So coming to case number 3, next case, this is he is 65-year male who is a known case of coronary artery disease. On treatment, he presented with headache for last 15 days. This headache was continuous, dull aching with no history of fever, nausea and vomiting. On examination, patient was lethargic and there was mild pronator drift in the right upper limb. Rest of the neurological examination was within normal limit. Here red flags are age of onset. Because age is more than 65, he has underlying disorder, coronary artery disease, and he is taking antiplatelets. And on examination, patient is lethargic as well as he is having motor deficit in the form of pronator drift in right upper limb. This is the CT scan of this patient, which is showing SDH on left side. So this patient was referred for surgery. Next case, 45-year male who presented with sudden onset severe excruciating headache for 2 days, associated with recurrent vomitings. On examination, there was neck stiffness. Rest of the neurological examination was normal. Here red flags are sudden onset of headache and stiffness in the neck. So scan was done, which showed hyperdensity in right sylvian fissure, which is suggestive of acute subarachnoid hemorrhage. Later on CT angio was performed, which revealed aneurysm, and this patient was again referred for surgery. Next case, 40-year male who presented with headache for 1 month. This headache was daily and continuous and usually aggravates by upright posture. Relieves by lying down posture. There is no history of fever, nausea, vomiting or any visual complaint. On examination, no disc edema, no meningeal sign, no focal neurological deficit. But here red flag is aggravates by upright posture. This is the scan of this patient, which is showing intense enhancement of dura along the cerebral convexity, which is suggestive of spontaneous intracranial hypotension, SIH. Next case, 48-year female presented with headache for 6 months. These headaches episodes are episodic, mild, holocranial, no history of nausea, fever, vomiting, neck stiffness, visual complaint or systemic complaint. But she gives history of occasional slippage of slipper from the left foot and decreased left hand grip. On examination, there was bilateral disc edema, power on left side by 4/5 and left plantar was upgoing. Here red flags were weakness, motor weakness, slippage of slipper from left side. Next red flag was disc edema, power on left side by 4/5. So these are the red flags in this case, and scan revealed large SOL in right frontotemporoparietal region, suggestive of high-grade glioma in the brain. Next case, 28-year female presented with headache for 7 days, continuous, severe, holocranial, associated with nausea, vomiting, but there was no history of fever or visual problems. Headache were not responding to routine painkillers. Patient was admitted under gastroenterology, as she was also having history of ulcerative colitis, active bleeding per rectum. This patient was seen by me and fundus examination revealed bilateral disc edema. Rest of the neurological examination was normal. MRI was done, which showed a small focal bleed, focal SAH in the right temporal lobe. Hyperintensity in the right temporal lobe, which is suggestive of focal SAH. Then we did CT angio with venous fetch, which revealed thrombosis in the right transverse sinus, internal jugular vein. This is extensive thrombosis in the brain. This thrombosis, this is a case of CVST, basically cerebral venous sinus thrombosis. CVST is usually associated with the underlying inflammatory bowel disease. So here diagnosis CVST and patient was started on anticoagulation, despite patient was having active bleeding per rectum. In this case, red flags are new onset daily headache, bilateral disc edema and underlying systemic disorder. If patient is having some underlying disorder, always suspect some secondary pathology. Some points to remember is CVT are, in cases of cerebral venous sinus thrombosis, initial CT scan may be normal. Even MRI brain without contrast may be normal. It can miss the diagnosis of cerebral venous sinus thrombosis. So where the clinical suspicion of CVT is very high, MRV should be done. Next case, 30-year female who presented with headache of 1 year duration. Headache is intermittent, severe, holocranial, more in early morning while in bed, but relieves after assuming upright posture for daily routines. There was no response to routine painkillers. She also gave history of tinnitus while in bed and occasional vomiting. On examination, there was bilateral disc edema. Rest of the neurological examination absolutely normal. Here the red flags were headache relieves after assuming upright posture and history of tinnitus, and third one is disc edema. Scan of this patient showed empty scala trachea, prominent perioptic sheath. These signs are suggestive of raised intracranial pressure. Here diagnosis is idiopathic intracranial hypertension. CSF was done and lumbar CSF was done. Pressure was measured, which was 350 mm of CSF. This patient was started on carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. Next case, 28-year female, underwent cesarean section 2 days back, presented with sudden onset severe headache for 1 day. Then she had single episode of seizure followed by altered sensorium. On examination, patient was stuporous. There was no disc edema, bilateral plantars were upgoing. Here red flags were sudden onset severe headache and altered sensorium. This is the MRI scan of this patient, which showed bilateral parieto-occipital white matter edema. This is suggestive of posterior reversible encephalopathy syndrome. This is a transient brain edema which is usually associated with sudden rise in blood pressure, especially in postpartum period. Next case, 40-year female, recently married, presented with headache for 2 months, daily, continuous with occasional vomitings. There is no history of fever, low. She also gave history of low mood, and she was being treated for depression. On leading question, she told that she is also having occasional diplopia. On examination, there was bilateral disc edema, and rest of the neurological examination was normal. Here red flags were history of double vision and bilateral disc edema. MRI revealed multiple ring enhancing lesion in all the hemisphere, all the lobes of brain, bilateral frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital. And diagnosis here is CNS tuberculosis, multiple tuberculomas in the brain, and patient was started on ATT. Next case, 34-year female, presented with headache for 2 years. These headache episodes are episodic, severe, but transient, less than 5 minutes. And these headaches are mainly bitemporal or occipital. Patient also gives history of occasional nausea but no vomiting. But she specifically tells that these episodes of headache especially occurs after loud laugh. And on examination, there was no disc edema, no evidence of neck rigidity, no focal neurological deficit. Here red flag was these headache episode almost always after loud laugh. So I have already told that if headache episodes are occurring after some Valsalva maneuver, this may be a red flag. So always rule out secondary pathology. MRI scan was done which revealed herniation of tonsils into the foramen magnum. And here diagnosis is Arnold-Chiari malformation type 1. So this patient was again referred for surgery. These are the different cases which I have told. We should always keep in our mind these red flag signs. If we remember these red flag signs, we cannot miss the secondary pathologies of headache. So coming to approach of headache, in every case of headache, we should take detailed history. We should do meticulous neurological examination to rule out focal neurological deficit, disc edema. Fundus examination is mandatory in each and every case of headache to rule out disc edema. Always look for meningeal sign and always look for red flags. So my take-home message is headache is one of the commonest presenting complaint in OPD and ER. Almost 1/4 neurology OPD referrals are for headaches, and most of the headaches are benign. Exact diagnosis of primary headache is mandatory for proper management, and we should always keep in our mind the red flag signs of headache so that we cannot miss secondary headaches. Every patient of headache needs detailed clinical evaluation. Investigations are based upon presumptive diagnosis. If we are suspecting some secondary pathology, we should always undergo scanning, CSF, depending upon the presumptive diagnosis. And patients suffering from primary headache disorders need proper counseling about their disease and importance of long-term preventive therapy if required. Thank you.